You hear a soft sound near the front steps. It's nothing loud, just a faint rustle. You step outside and there it is, a snake. Not coiled in defense, not hissing or attacking, just moving, silent, intentional. Your first instinct? Panic. Grab a broom, call someone. Do anything to get it away. But here's what almost no one tells you. If that snake entered your home on its own, especially without aggression, you may have just been visited by one of the rarest signs of fortune in ancient Feng Shui. And if you chased it away, you might have just turned your back on wealth that was trying to enter your life. Sounds insane, right? But for thousands of years, certain types of snakes have been considered sacred messengers, not threats. They arrive during specific shifts in energy, often when a home is on the verge of transformation. It's not random, it's not superstition, it's timing, it's alignment, and it's opportunity. Most people miss it. They react with fear, not knowing that the snake's color, time of appearance, and even the exact place it enters all carry precise meanings. Some signal new beginnings, others represent karmic rewards or long-awaited breakthroughs. The real tragedy? Every year, thousands of women, especially those standing at a personal crossroads, encounter this moment and never realize its meaning. They sweep it away like dust on the floor. But what if you did? What if, instead of reacting in fear, you paused and listened? Because when a silent creature crosses your threshold without harm, it's not always an accident. Sometimes it's an invitation. And the question is, will you be ready to receive what it's bringing? 1. The first snake, symbol of patience and earthly harvest. You step outside just as the sun rises, mug of coffee warming your hands, ready for another quiet day. The grass is still damp from last night's rain, and the world feels softer somehow. Then you see it, slipping silently near the stone path, a slender olive-green snake, moving slowly, purposefully, without fear or rush. Your first instinct might be to flinch, to freeze, maybe even to shout for help, but something about this moment stops you. There's no threat, just presence, a quiet, ancient kind of presence. That snake, the one so many would fear, is not a mistake. It's a message. In Feng Shui, this particular visitor, the red-necked keelback, is a symbol not of danger but of recognition. A signal that the slow, invisible work you've done for years is finally ready to bloom into something real. And perhaps more importantly, it's a sign that the universe has noticed what no one else may have. This snake doesn't come with fanfare. It doesn't rattle, it doesn't threaten. It glides like a current of energy that's been quietly forming just beneath the surface. Its olive-green body is no accident. It's the perfect blend of wood and water elements, the two forces in Feng Shui that represent quiet growth and emotional resilience. Wood is everything you've planted. Intentions, dreams, selfless acts, early mornings spent caring for others. Water is the patience you've carried. All the times you stayed silent, stayed steady, stayed kind, even when no one was watching. So when this snake shows up, especially in a peaceful manner, it means something has shifted. You've crossed a threshold where the energy you've been cultivating is now strong enough to manifest into something tangible. This isn't a windfall, it's not lottery luck. This is legacy luck, the kind that builds slowly, deeply, and with unshakable roots. It's the business you started 5 years ago with no followers but plenty of heart. It's the time you spent helping a neighbor through cancer without ever posting about it. It's the meal you cooked, the children you raised, the grief you carried, the garden you watered. Not because anyone asked you to, but because it felt right. The red-necked keelback appears when a woman has given more than she's taken, waited longer than most would wait, and now, without even asking, the earth answers back. This is the fortune that only comes to those who never needed applause to keep going. That's why the traditional wisdom says, don't chase it. Let it pass. Let it bless the space. And after it's gone, mark that ground as sacred, not out of superstition, but out of respect for the energy exchange that just occurred. Wipe the area gently with a cloth soaked in ginger and salt water, not to erase the moment, but to seal it, to hold it, to whisper to the earth, I understand. Then take one simple action to match the energy that just arrived. It could be donating to a cause that's quietly changed your life, sending a letter to someone who showed up for you when no one else did, or just sitting with your hands over your heart and finally letting yourself feel proud for all the invisible labor that shaped who you are today. Because here's the truth that too many women forget. Patience is not passive. It's power in its most graceful form. And wealth doesn't always roar in through flashy cars or investment wins. Sometimes it comes on the belly of a snake, gliding slowly across your garden at dawn, reminding you that the deepest kind of abundance is already unfolding within and around you. This is the first snake, and if you've seen it, you're not cursed. You're being seen, fully, deeply, and just in time. Not every woman gets this message. But those who do, they're already standing on soil rich enough to bloom. To the second snake, sign of fresh beginnings. It's just after a light rain. The air smells clean, and sunlight breaks through the clouds in golden patches across the backyard. You notice something moving among the wet leaves, thin, delicate, a bright green line against the dark mulch. It's not frightening. It doesn't rush or coil. It simply glides like a ribbon of life unspooling from the earth itself. And in that exact moment, something inside you whispers, this is no accident. What you've just seen is the green vine snake, an omen in Feng Shui of new beginnings, transformation, and soft, unshakable strength. It appears most often when someone is on the edge of change. Not dramatic upheaval, but quiet, conscious evolution. And perhaps that someone is you. Maybe you've recently moved into a new home. Maybe you've finally downsized after decades of raising children and holding space for others. Maybe you're starting a side business, going back to school, joining a spiritual circle, or simply learning to live for yourself again after years of prioritizing everyone else. This snake shows up not to scare you, but to affirm that whatever path you've just chosen, however uncertain or unconventional, is exactly right. In Feng Shui, lime green is pure wood energy in its youngest form. The sprouting shoot, the first unfurling leaf, the bud that pushes through soil after a long, hard winter. And that is exactly the energy you are now carrying. There's something powerful about a fresh start when it comes later in life. The world doesn't expect it of you. People assume the time for bold decisions, for daring to begin again, has passed. But the green vine snake says otherwise. It says your soul is not finished. It says courage doesn't retire. It says healing and purpose have no expiration date. That vibrant color, so luminous it almost glows, reflects your readiness to grow beyond what has held you back, not in anger or rejection, but in peace. This kind of growth isn't loud. It doesn't need announcement or approval. It's internal, rooted, real. And that's why this snake prefers to appear after the rain, because rain is cleansing. It breaks heat, carries away dust, and makes space for new light to touch what's been hidden. If you see this snake, especially if it enters your space without fear, you're being told the emotional storm has passed. The ground is soft again. What you plant now will take hold, but you must move gently. New energy is sensitive, like skin just beneath a scab. You're being invited to treat this moment not with urgency, but with reverence. What does that look like in daily life? It might be as simple as creating a new morning ritual. Opening the window at sunrise, lighting a candle, journaling before the world intrudes. It might be finally saying yes to a creative idea you've tucked away for years. Painting, writing, gardening, or reconnecting with someone whose absence left a quiet ache in your life. The green vine snake reminds you that what begins now doesn't need to be big. It only needs to be true. It's also worth noting that this snake often appears to those who have gone through loss. The death of a spouse, a retirement that left more emptiness than freedom, a health challenge that reshaped how you see your body. If any of this feels familiar, then this is your sign. You have endured, you have shed. And now, like the snake itself, you are gliding into a version of life that fits you better. Feng Shui teaches that how we respond to energy determines whether it will stay or vanish. When the green vine snake visits, don't rush to do anything. Simply witness. Let it pass through. Then quietly take one symbolic action. Place a small vase of fresh green leaves in the area where it appeared. Let that simple arrangement be your private agreement with the universe. I am ready. I am willing to begin again. I will not let fear of failure or fear of age hold me back from living fully. Because this is not just about a snake. It's about permission. Permission to evolve, to release the version of you that was safe, pleasing, expected, and to step gently, bravely into who you really are. The women who understand this snake's message don't shout about their plans. They move with quiet power, they honor their intuition, and over time the world starts to respond in kind. Doors open. Ideas land, support appears, not because of luck, but because the energy around them has shifted, aligned. And it started with a whisper of green after the rain, a movement so soft, so easy to miss. But you didn't miss it. You saw, you paused, you understood. And now you get to start again, not because something ended, but because something within you is blooming. 3. The third snake, the arrival of sudden wealth. You're standing at your front door, keys in hand, maybe just returning from an errand or stepping out to check the mail. The afternoon light casts long shadows across the steps. And then, almost hidden in plain sight, you see it. A snake. Not coiled, not aggressive, just shimmering. Its skin glows a deep golden bronze, catching the sun like a piece of antique jewelry someone accidentally dropped at your feet. It doesn't lunge, it doesn't flee. It just slides, smooth and deliberate, right across your threshold. And in that moment, everything in you knows something rare has just arrived. What you've witnessed isn't just nature doing its thing. In Feng Shui, this creature, the cadied snake, is considered an emissary of wealth, but not the kind that trickles in slowly. This is breakthrough energy, the kind that shows up when the universe is about to deliver something big, bold, and entirely unexpected. In the 5-element system, its golden hue belongs to metal, the element of value, accumulation, and opportunity. And when this energy visits your space, it does not knock gently. It enters with quiet elegance but carries the weight of serious change. This is the snake of sudden wealth, but not just any wealth. Think inheritance, a financial windfall, a lucrative offer you never saw coming, or a connection that turns into a life-changing opportunity. The cadied snake appears when you're being chosen, not just lucky. Chosen to receive something you've either quietly earned or deeply aligned with, even if you didn't realize it yet. It doesn't matter if you're skeptical. The energy doesn't ask for your belief. It only requires your attention. Because the moment you dismiss this sign, you risk dismissing the very wave of fortune that was trying to find you. Let's talk about its eyes. Polished brass, subtle but mesmerizing, never quite looking straight at you. That's part of the message. Sudden wealth doesn't always stare you down. It doesn't arrive with flashing lights or perfect timing. It slips in sideways, often disguised as something ordinary. A message, a stranger, a delay that reroutes your day and leads to someone new. But if you're too busy being afraid or dismissing it as coincidence, you miss the door as it opens. There's a reason this snake crosses doorways. In Feng Shui, the entrance of your home is your mouth of Kai, the space where energy enters. So when this golden bronze serpent glides across your doorstep, it's like the universe saying, wealth is trying to enter. Will you let it in? The answer is not in screaming or grabbing a camera. It's in stillness. It's in trust. It's in your willingness to recognize that something sacred has arrived, even if it makes you uncomfortable. This snake often shows up in times of transition, after retirement, during legal settlements, or in seasons where you've let go of something heavy. It's not rare for it to appear just before news of property sales, unexpected refunds, business acquisitions, or the sudden emergence of someone with the resources or influence to alter your path. Its message is clear. What you've been waiting for has begun to move, but only if you are still enough to receive it. So how do you respond when this snake visits? Tradition says you must first do nothing. Stand your ground, say nothing. Allow the energy to finish crossing through. Once it's gone, mark the moment by placing 2 round coins, preferably old with square holes, in the exact spot where it paused. You can bury them in the soil, slide them under a welcome mat, or place them in a small bowl at your entrance. This act doesn't trap the energy, it anchors it. It says, yes, I'm ready, I recognize the gift. Then for the next 7 to 21 days, do not chase. Let the blessing come to you. Stay open to strange invitations, bold ideas, and gut feelings. Trust the golden thread as it weaves its way toward your life. Don't force it, but don't ignore it either. Sudden wealth is like wind. It moves fast, and only those who are grounded can receive it fully. What makes this snake's message so powerful is that it usually comes when you least expect it. When you've stopped trying, when you've let go of forcing, when you've cleared enough emotional clutter to finally make space. It reminds us that not all abundance is earned by effort. Some is simply granted when your energy becomes aligned enough to hold it. So the next time you see something golden gliding quietly across your path, don't reach for the broom. Don't recoil in fear. Pause, watch, breathe. Because maybe, just maybe, the very thing you've been praying for is no longer in the distance. It's already at your door. 4. The 4th snake, long-term wealth earned through endurance. You're outside in the late afternoon, pulling a few weeds from the base of an old brick wall, or maybe sweeping near the foundation where the sun barely reaches anymore. The day is quiet. There's no urgency in the air, just a calm stillness. Then you spot it, low to the ground, slow-moving and warm in color. A reddish-brown snake, thick-bodied and unbothered, emerging from dry soil or beneath a pile of forgotten stones. It doesn't rush, it doesn't hide. It simply appears like something that's been there all along, waiting for the right moment to rise. This is the earth snake. In Feng Shui, it carries one of the most powerful and overlooked blessings. Wealth built from patience, stability, and quiet consistency. While other snakes announce sudden fortune or spiritual shifts, the earth snake speaks to something deeper, accumulated effort finally becoming tangible reward. This is not a flashy sign. It doesn't come for attention, it comes for acknowledgement. Because somewhere along the way, you've spent years holding things together. Your home, your family, your community. And now the ground beneath your life has finally begun to give back. Its color is no accident. The mix of red and brown speaks to 2 powerful elements, fire and earth. Fire is your inner drive, the warmth, the sacrifices, the long nights you endured without complaint. Earth is your foundation. The space you created, the loyalty you offered, the promises you kept even when no one noticed. Together, they form the essence of long-term wealth. Not just financial, but emotional, spiritual, relational. This kind of abundance doesn't come quickly because it isn't shallow. It's legacy-building energy. It roots deep. It holds firm. The earth snake appears near old trees, the base of homes, dry gardens, and aging walls. Places that have stood the test of time. And it appears to people who have done the same. Women who have raised families, held marriages together, rebuilt after heartbreak, cared for others without asking anything in return. It's not uncommon for this snake to appear after a hard season, divorce, illness, financial struggle. Because when it does, it's not just confirming that the worst is behind you. It's letting you know that your endurance has been seen, and that something steady, something nourishing is about to begin. This is the blessing that shows up when you think no one saw your quiet strength, when you thought all your efforts had disappeared into the background. But the earth remembers, and now it's answering back. When this snake visits, don't be alarmed, don't move quickly. Watch how it carries itself, with weight, with peace, with purpose. Its message is simple: slow down. Trust the work you've already done. Stop questioning whether it was enough. Because what's coming now is not the result of sudden decisions, but the harvest of a life lived with integrity. Feng Shui teaches us to respond to this energy with a mixture of reverence and action. Let the snake pass through. Note the area it came from. Within the next 24 hours, prepare a simple blend of boiled ginger, sea salt, and clean water. Use a cloth to gently wipe the path it crossed, not to erase it, but to honor it. This is not superstition, it's an energetic gesture, a message back to the earth: I receive. Then do one thing to physically reinforce your foundation. Maybe it's decluttering a room, repairing something that's been broken too long, or finally sitting down to write the plan you've postponed for years. These are not chores. They're agreements with the wealth that's beginning to rise. This type of abundance isn't about making it big. It's about security. It's the type of wealth that shows up as stability in retirement, a peaceful home, passive income from something you started long ago, or steady support from family. It may not look like luxury, but it feels like freedom. And more importantly, it lasts. The earth snake teaches that fortune isn't something you chase. It's something you earn by becoming unshakable. And when you live like that, wealth can't help but find its way back to you, because you've created the kind of life that can actually hold it. So if one day you catch sight of this warm-colored snake near the old bones of your home or the roots of your life, pause. Don't see a pest, see a sign, something sacred, something rare. Because when the earth snake appears, it's not forecasting a sudden windfall. It's confirming that you've already built the foundation. And now, slowly, surely, it's time to rise. 5. The fifth snake, releasing hidden blockages. You're in the quietest corner of the house. Maybe it's near the basement stairs, an old storage room, or a corner you rarely visit, filled with boxes you've meant to sort through but never have. The light is dim, filtered through dusty blinds or falling across furniture that hasn't moved in years. Then it happens. You catch a flicker of movement, subtle and low. A smooth, ash-gray snake, small and unthreatening, glides across the floor like a breath of wind through a forgotten hallway. It doesn't stop to look at you. It doesn't strike. It simply moves like something ancient unlocking itself and making way. You don't scream, you don't run, something about its presence stills you. You just watch. Because deep down you feel it. This is more than a reptile. This is a release. This is the ash-gray snake, and in Feng Shui it doesn't represent wealth in the way gold and green do. It represents something far rarer, the lifting of karmic weight, the clearing of internal blockages, and the soft unraveling of energy that's been stuck for far too long. Unlike the other snakes that signal growth or arrival, this one is about emptying, about letting go, about making space. Gray in the Feng Shui system is linked to yin earth, the element of absorption, of healing, of deep silence. It's not a color of mourning, but of purification, of the in-between moment after the pain and before the bloom. When this snake appears, especially in places that have gone unnoticed or untouched, it means something unseen is shifting, not because you forced it, but because you're finally ready to let it go. Maybe it's grief that's lingered too long. Maybe it's guilt about a decision, a relationship, a missed chance. Maybe it's simply the residue of years spent putting others first. Whatever it is, this snake doesn't come to punish you. It comes to help you unlock the parts of yourself that were closed off, not by fear, but by survival. And now, without you even realizing it, life has judged you ready to step through. The ash-gray snake often appears to women who have lived quietly, kindly, and with deep compassion, but haven't seen their kindness reflected back. If you've ever asked, "When is it my turn?" Or "Why haven't things worked out even though I've done everything right?" this snake is your answer. It comes to affirm that the unseen has been seen, that the invisible weight you've carried is no longer yours to hold, that the good you've put into the world has not vanished. It's simply been gathering deep in the roots, ready to rise. This snake may also appear near sacred spaces, altars, family photo walls, old heirlooms passed down through generations. These are areas where ancestral energy lives. If it shows up there, take it as a sacred message. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are being released from generational patterns, from old fears, from grief that didn't know where to go. And this is where your response becomes part of the healing. Don't chase the snake away. Let it move freely. When it's gone, return to that space within 24 hours. Do not rearrange. Do not scrub. Instead, light a stick of incense or a candle and simply say, "I see what is ready to leave. I open the way." Then perform one small act of compassion, not for others, but for yourself. Make tea and sit in silence. Write a letter to someone who hurt you, even if you never send it. Or walk into a room you haven't entered in weeks and breathe there with full presence. These actions seem simple, but they are energetic keys. They tell the universe, "I am ready to feel lighter." What follows may not look like wealth at first glance, but make no mistake, it is. A surprise opportunity, a reconnection, a spark of inspiration that brings clarity you've longed for. The ash-gray snake doesn't bring cash, it brings clearing. And once the block is gone, everything else can flow again. This is the wealth of wholeness, of no longer needing to carry what you didn't even know was weighing you down. So if one day, in the stillness of a room you rarely visit, you see a flash of gray silk slipping through the shadows, pause. Watch. Don't explain it away, because you may have just witnessed the quiet miracle of your own release. 6. The time of appearance, reading the message of destiny. It's not just the snake that matters, it's when it appears. Timing, in the language of energy, is everything. In Feng Shui, the hour a creature shows itself can unlock as much meaning as the form it takes. Because the universe speaks not in coincidence, but in precise, gentle pulses of synchronicity. And when a snake enters your space, the message is just in its color or movement. It's in the moment it chose to arrive. Let's begin with the morning hours just after dawn. The air is soft, full of promise, and the world hasn't quite woken up yet. If a snake appears between 5:00 and 9:00 a.m., take notice. This is the hour of rising yang energy, when everything begins to stir. If this is when the snake shows up, it's not just crossing your yard, it's crossing into your potential. This time of day is associated with clarity, with intention, with setting the tone for what comes next. If you're on the brink of a new project, thinking about a life shift, or searching for the courage to start again, this is a sign that the door is already open. You don't have to break it down, you simply have to walk through it. Now imagine the snake comes during the peak of daylight between 11:00 a.m. and 1:00 p.m. The sun is strong, shadows are short, and the energy is bold. This is the hour of full yang, intense, active, and alive. When a snake enters your home at this time, it carries urgency. Something wants to move quickly. A decision, a breakthrough, a conversation that shifts the air. But there's a warning here, too. Noon energy is powerful but easily scattered. If your mind is cluttered or your emotions are running high, you may miss what's being offered, or worse, mishandle it. The key is to ground yourself. Slow down, even when everything seems to speed up. Because if you remain centered, this timing can open pathways to financial abundance, business expansion, or surprising turns of fate that change everything. The hours between 5:00 and 9 p.m. are different altogether. The day is winding down. The light begins to soften. If a snake appears at this time, it's not charging in with force. It's returning, pulling something from your past gently back into the present. This is the window of yin-yang transition, neither fully active nor fully resting. In Feng Shui, this hour belongs to reflection, return, and reconnection. If you've been thinking about a relationship left unresolved, an old project you once shelved, or a version of yourself you've lost touch with, this timing is a call to revisit, to reconsider. Not to revive everything, but to honor what still holds value. Often, it means that an opportunity you thought had passed is still alive and ready for you to engage it from a wiser place. Now imagine it's just rained. Not a storm, just a steady cleansing fall that leaves the earth glistening and the air changed. And just as the clouds break, a snake appears. Maybe in your garden, maybe near your porch, maybe by your window. This moment, regardless of the hour, is one of the most sacred. Rain is nature's way of resetting energy. It clears what's stagnant, rinses what's tired, and allows life to begin again. When a snake shows up right after the rain, it is the universe whispering. The blockage is gone. Now move, start the thing you've been putting off. Say yes to what scares you. This is not a time to hesitate. You've been cleared for takeoff, and the guidance you need will reveal itself as you go. There is one more moment that carries immense meaning, the first or second day of the lunar month. These early lunar days are energetically potent, times when heaven, earth, and humanity are said to be most aligned. If a snake crosses your path on one of these days, pay very close attention. You are not just witnessing a visitor. You are receiving a message from ancestors, from spirit, from the very roots of your path. This is a sign that you are ready to receive not just fortune, but blessing. And your role is to receive it with humility and grace. These are not days for rushing. They are days for quiet strength, for lighting candles, for speaking only what is necessary, and for placing intention into the next chapter of your life with deliberate care. Each of these times tells a different story. One calls you to rise, one dares you to act, one invites you to reflect, one urges you to leap, one blesses you to receive, but all of them share a single truth. The snake did not appear by chance. It came at the very hour your energy was ready to shift. And if you meet that moment with awareness, you won't just witness a sign, you'll step into a new timeline. One where fear no longer leads. One where intuition guides. One where the timing of the universe and the readiness of your heart finally meet. So the next time you see a snake, not on TV, not in a book, but right there in your living space, don't just ask, "What is it?" Ask, "When did it come?" because in that timing lies the message, and in that message your next beginning. 7. The location, where your fortune will grow. You see the snake. Maybe it came and went quietly. Maybe it paused. But there's one question that lingers long after its body disappears from view. Where did it show up? Because in Feng Shui, the physical location where a snake appears isn't just a backdrop. It's a direct clue to the area of your life that's about to transform. This isn't metaphorical. It's a spatial map. And your home is more than a shelter. It's a mirror of your energy field. If the snake appeared at your front door, the entryway, the steps, or directly at the threshold, it's not random. This is your gate of fortune, the opening point through which external opportunities enter your life. In Feng Shui, the front door governs career, connections, and the flow of abundance from the outside world. A snake here is like a letter from the universe stamped urgent. It signals an opportunity is coming your way, perhaps a job offer, an invitation, a new collaboration, or a financial proposal. But here's the nuance. The snake's presence is also a test of readiness. Is your door literally and energetically open, or is it blocked by clutter, fear, or doubt? Take a moment to clear the entrance. Wipe down the handle. Remove anything that makes the door hard to open, because the energy that's trying to enter can only do so if the space allows it. Now imagine the snake appeared on the balcony, in the garden, or among your potted plants. This area represents environmental energy, your connection to nature, to others, and to support you may not even realize you need. This is the sign of a quiet helper entering your life, someone who sees you, believes in you, and wants to assist, even if their role isn't obvious at first. It might be a neighbor who introduces you to a key person, a friend who speaks your name in the right room, or even a long-lost relative reaching out. The lesson here is not to isolate. Share more, speak your ideas aloud. Ask for what you need. The garden, after all, only blooms when it's tended, and when the winds are allowed to carry its seeds elsewhere. If the snake appeared in the kitchen, pause before brushing it off as coincidence. In Feng Shui, the kitchen is the heart of wealth from within, the space where nourishment turns into energy and where family energy either flourishes or breaks down. A snake here is not warning you. It's pointing to potential. Specifically, the kind of wealth that arises from unity, collaboration, and shared purpose. Perhaps someone in your household is about to succeed, an adult child, a spouse, even you through a family-based idea or business. But this also comes with a call to action. Cook more, share meals, be intentional about what you feed your body and your relationships. Because warmth in the kitchen generates warmth in your finances. This is the sign that abundance is being born at your table, quietly but steadily. Now, if the snake enters your bedroom, the message is deeply personal. This is not about your bank account. This is about emotional wealth, the kind that arises when you finally begin to feel at peace with your inner world. The bedroom in Feng Shui represents intimacy, vulnerability, and soul-level energy. A snake here may appear during times of healing, after a long illness, a grieving period, or a time of emotional disconnect from a partner or even from yourself. It's not bringing chaos, it's bringing integration. The snake is your sign that you're ready to rest, to soften, to receive love. Not just from others, but from the self you've been too tired or too busy to hold. If this happens, take it as permission to slow down. Sleep earlier. Light a candle beside your bed. Speak gently to yourself at night. Because fortune isn't only found in money, it's found in the silence that doesn't hurt anymore. Finally, there's the most overlooked location of all. The altar, the storage room, or the unused corners of your home. These are spaces tied to the past, Ancestral energy, spiritual memory, and long-buried blessings waiting to be uncovered. If the snake appeared here, it's a sign of hidden wealth, not necessarily in dollars, but in alignment. You may have an unclaimed gift, a skill passed down through generations, or a dream long buried under practicality. This snake is your whisper to dust it off, to open the box you haven't looked inside in years, to remember the version of yourself who once believed in magic. The ancestors are speaking, and they're asking, will you finally claim what was always yours? Every space the snake chooses carries meaning, and the more consciously you acknowledge it, the more clearly the message unfolds. So walk your home again, not just with eyes, but with presence. Ask yourself, where did it come from? What was I thinking right before it appeared? How did that space feel, and what part of my life does it mirror? Because Feng Shui isn't superstition, it's storytelling through space. And your home is already trying to tell you something vital. So whether the snake came through the front door, curled in the garden, appeared near the stove, slipped under your bed, or paused in a room filled with memories, it wasn't random. It was a signal, a map, a moment of clarity wrapped in scales and silence. And now you get to choose whether to ignore it or follow it to where your fortune is waiting to grow. Final, not every blessing arrives with fanfare. Some glide in silently, wearing no crown, carrying no proof, only presence. The snake, misunderstood by so many, is one of those quiet messengers. It doesn't ask to be welcomed. It doesn't demand belief. It simply appears when your energy is ready, when your spirit has ripened, when life has prepared the ground for something new to grow. Whether it crossed your doorstep or curled near a forgotten corner, what matters is not just that it came, but that you noticed. By now, you may see it differently, not as a threat, but as a symbol of endings that made room for beginnings, of blockages quietly lifting, of a rhythm in the universe you didn't know you were part of until it moved through your home. And through you, because that's what this truly is, a shift inside you. A reminder that you are not too late, not too tired, not too forgotten. That even now, especially now, life is still offering you things, if only you pause long enough to receive them. This isn't just about fortune in the traditional sense. It's about the wealth that comes from seeing the invisible, the gift of trusting your intuition, the freedom of no longer brushing away signs as coincidence. Because once you begin to live in harmony with your space, with the unseen patterns around you, something remarkable happens. You stop chasing fate and start welcoming it. You start treating your home as sacred ground. You start speaking to your own soul with more kindness. You start knowing, not guessing, when something is meant for you. And when the time is right, when the wind is still, when the light hits just right, you'll remember this moment. Not because a snake came, but because you were awake enough to understand what it meant. So take a breath. Let this knowledge settle where it belongs, not just in your mind, but in the quiet corners of your life. The ones waiting for you to see them, the ones ready to bloom.